Welcome to Augmentt Onboarding. I'm the Augmenttor, and I'll be your guide through the entire Augmentt setup process. We're going to cover everything from integrating with Microsoft 365 to scheduling Augmentt reports. Let's get started with level 1, choosing your sign-in options. When logging into Augmentt, you have two sign-in choices. You can use the standard username and password with the option to enable two-factor authentication, or you can use single sign-on through Microsoft. First, let's take a look at the username and password option. At this point, you should have received your welcome email with your login information for Augmentt. You should have received your username and temporary password. So now that we have that, let's head over to app.augmentt.com and go ahead and sign in by putting in that username and password. And now that you're logged in for the first time, you probably want to change that password. So if you click on your profile in the top right corner and then click change password, you'll be prompted to put in your existing password, and then you can set up whatever new password that you'd like to use. Now that we have the username and password set up, we still need to enable 2FA. Now this step is optional, but you can find it under configuration and then companies. And then if you click on the three dots to the far right of your company name and then click enable 2FA, you'll be prompted to set up two-factor authentication. Once you hit that enable button, nothing will happen on your current session, but the next time you log into your Augmentt portal, you'll be prompted to set up 2FA on your mobile device. So now that we've logged in with our username and password, we've made sure that we've changed our password to something more secure, and we've turned on 2FA. Let's take a look at the option to log in using SSO. So for this training, we're just going to go ahead and create a brand new user. So we'll put in their standard information, first name, last name, and email address. And then for login options, we're just going to check Microsoft SSO, leave everything else unchecked. Then you can decide what rights and privileges that you want to assign to this user. And we'll hit the create user button. And at this point, the new user has been created, and the only way they can access Augmentt is by logging in using SSO. So let's take a quick look at what that looks like. So we'll just put in the username, and because we're using SSO, there is no need to put in a password. Click sign in with Microsoft, select the proper Microsoft account, and there we go, that's it. We are logged into the Augmentt portal using SSO. Now that we've completed level 1, let's set up our integrations to bring clients into Augmentt. You have 3 choices to integrate. You can do a one-to-many integration using the Microsoft 365 CSP integration. You can do a one-to-one direct integration with a singular Microsoft 365 customer. Or you can do a one-to-one integration with the Google Workspace client. First, let's take a look at Microsoft 365 and determine the integration path that's right for you. If you are using the Microsoft 365 Partner CSP portal, the CSP integration will probably be your best option. This is a one-to-many integration, which means you only need to integrate one time at your partner level to pull in your entire customer list. This means less work for you, and it lowers your chance for a broken integration. There is one limitation to keep in mind if you use the CSP integration. If your clients are using Azure per user MFA, the Microsoft API will not send MFA data to Augmentt. If you're using conditional access policies or security defaults, then you will have full visibility into your client's MFA status. Your second choice to integrate with Microsoft is to do a direct integration. This would require you to use your admin credentials to the client's environment. The direct integration requires you to do this for each customer you wish to add to Augmentt. Unlike the CSP integration, there are no MFA limitations with the direct integration. So let's get started by setting up a CSP integration to pull in multiple clients into Augmentt. First, the integration account must have MFA enabled. Third-party MFA tools will not meet this requirement. Next, the integration account must be part of the admin agent security group. This is a CSP API requirement. Once you have confirmed that your admin account is set up properly in your Microsoft portal, head over to the Augmentt platform. Once in Augmentt, click on Configuration, and then Integrations. Select your organization from the company selector, and then click the Connect button in the Microsoft 365 Cloud Solution Provider box. You will be prompted to enter your global administrator credentials up to 4 times, and after entering your credentials each time, click the box to consent on behalf of your organization, and then click Accept. Once complete, you should see the user and account listed with a green connected in the Microsoft 365 box, letting you know that the connection was successful. Now that the CSP integration has been set up, let's go ahead and start mapping our clients. Click Manage CSP Setup. On the CSP Setup page, you'll see a full list of your clients that are in your CSP Partner portal, and then we will also audit the accounts within Microsoft to see which ones are ready to integrate with Augmentt. In order for Augmentt to fully integrate with the client via CSP, there has to be a GDAP relationship established with 13 specific roles, and the admin agent security group needs to be a member of that GDAP relationship. You do have the ability to set this up manually within your Microsoft Partner Center, or you can use the GDAP configuration tool built within Augmentt to establish the GDAP relationship for you and to add the admin agent security group. So as we can see with this client, it is not ready, it does not have any of the GDAP roles that Augmentt needs, and it does not have the admin agent security group. So let's resolve this. You can do this for individual clients, or you can multi-select and then click on the Create GDAP Relationship Request button. Now you'll see at the top of the page that I already have a GDAP relationship set up for my first client. So this is only going to set up the request for the second customer on the page. You can see that it will create the relationship name automatically within Microsoft. It will also set the duration to the maximum number of 730 days, and it will turn on the auto renew. You can see the 13 Azure AD roles that will be assigned to this GDAP relationship, and then hit Next. And it will also add the admin agent security group with the 13 roles assigned to that security group. When you're ready, hit Next, and you will confirm that we are creating the GDAP relationship with the roles and the admin agent security group assigned. Now this can take a few moments to set up the GDAP relationship within Microsoft, but once it's set up, you will see the status change to pending on the client, and you will have the activation link or the entire email that you can copy and then either send to the client to approve the request, or you can log into their account as an administrator and approve it on their behalf. So let's go ahead and copy the link, and then we will log into the Microsoft Admin Center to approve this request on behalf of the client using our global admin credentials. Check the box, approve all, hit yes, and now that we've approved the request, and head back to Augmentt. Now on its own, Augmentt will eventually sync with Microsoft to see that you've made these changes, and then it will see that everything is set up correctly and automatically switch the relationship to green and ready. However, you do have the ability to speed up this process if you click the Sync CSP accounts on the right-hand side. That will force Augmentt to check in with Microsoft to see if any changes have been made. Now that we've done that, the status has changed to green and ready. And this client is now connected through the CSP integration and has full functionality in the Augmentt portal. Now, if you already have a GDAP relationship established with the client, but you just haven't added the admin agent security group to the relationship, you can also do that. Just click on Delegate Access. Once again, we will see those 13 roles and the security group, and we will click the box to Delegate Access, and that will create that security group within the GDAP relationship with those 13 roles assigned to it, and you'll be able to use Augmentt to its full capabilities with this client. Congratulations, you've reached the bonus stage. If you'd like to set up GDAP manually within your Microsoft Partner Portal, you can follow these steps to make sure that the GDAP relationship has the ideal settings for Augmentt. First thing you want to do is log into your CSP Partner Portal. Once logged in, click on Customers. Once your customer list loads, select the customer account that you want to set the GDAP relationship up for. And then click Admin Relationships. And then click Request for a new relationship. You can name the relationship whatever you like, but you cannot use the same name twice. So it has to be something unique for each GDAP relationship that you create for each customer. And the longest you can set the relationship up for is 730 days. And then you can select the Microsoft intro roles. Now the 13 roles that Augmentt needs are Exchange Administrator, Groups Administrator, Teams Administrator, SharePoint Administrator, Authentication Administrator, Conditional Access Administrator, License Administrator, Password Administrator, User Administrator, Application Administrator, Compliance Administrator, Security Administrator, and Authentication Policy Administrator. And once you have selected all 13 roles, go ahead and hit Save. You'll see the full list, and you can choose to auto-extend the relationship up to 6 months. Go ahead and hit Finalize Request, and you will be presented with an email that you could send to the client to accept the relationship, or you can just copy the link and then accept the relationship on behalf of the client. You'll just need to log in as a global administrator. Once the relationship has been accepted, navigate back to the Partner Center and select the GDAP relationship that you just created. And at the bottom of the page, click Add Security Group. Select the Admin Agent Security Group, and then click on Microsoft Intro Roles to select all 13 roles that we've set up, and click Save. And that will add the Admin Agent Security Group to the GDAP relationship, and now everything is set up for Augmentt, and we can map the client. Still in the CSP setup section of the Augmentt platform, we'll just head to the unmapped accounts. And we can see all of the clients that we have not yet set up in Augmentt. Now, if you've already added the customer manually, you can just click Select Customer, and then select from the list of accounts. Or you can create and map the customer by clicking on the Create and Map Companies button in the top right corner. And then select the corresponding account from the list, check the box, and hit Create Companies. And that's it. You have manually set up the GDAP integration within Microsoft, and then manually map them within Augmentt. Now, let's take a look at how we can set up a direct Microsoft 365 integration with the client. When When setting up the direct integration with Microsoft, the first thing that you'll need to do in the Augmentt portal is to add the customer first. To add the customer to Augmentt, navigate to Configuration and then Companies. And then in the top right corner, click the Add Company button. Type in the customer's name. You can choose if you wanted to auto-assign licenses to both Discover and Engage. When you're ready to create the account, hit Add Company. Now that the customer's been created, let's head to the Integrations tab. Select the customer that you want to set up the direct integration for and click the Connect button in the M365 box. You'll be prompted to enter your admin credentials for the client's environment, and then receive a series of permissions prompts to connect to the client's environment. Once you have consented to the various prompts, the Manage Office and Graph APIs will be connected. The second step is to connect to Exchange Online. This requires you to run a PowerShell script locally as an administrator. You can download the script from the Augmentt portal and then run it in PowerShell. You will receive a few more permission prompts, and once you complete, you will receive a script output token that you will copy from your PowerShell window and paste into Augmentt. Don't forget to include the brackets on the lines above and below the token. Once the token has been pasted in Augmentt and the Exchange Online connection is established, you are fully connected to the client's Microsoft 365 environment. Now that we've gone over the different options to integrate with Microsoft 365, let's take a look at how to integrate with Google Workspace. It's important to note that the Google Workspace integration only applies to Engage and Discover. There is no Google functionality in Secure. Before we can integrate with Google Workspace, we'll have to add the customer to Augmentt first. Navigate to Configuration and then Companies. Now click on Add Company in the top right corner, put in the customer's name, decide if you want to auto-assign licenses, and then create the company. Now that the company has been created, navigate to Configuration and then Integrations. Click on the Sign In with Google button in the Google Workspace box. Enter your Google Workspace admin credentials. Check the boxes to allow Augmentt to access the different components in the Google Workspace environment, and click Continue. After the integration has connected, you can navigate back to the Integrations tab in Augmentt to make sure it was successful. Augmentt integrates with multiple PSA tools. The PSA integrations in Augmentt are for alerting purposes only. Even though there are multiple PSA tools that Augmentt integrates with, the setup process is relatively similar for each of the solutions. For this training, we will not be going over individual PSA tool integrations. Instead, we will go over the basics. We have articles in our knowledge base and videos on our YouTube channel that cover PSA integrations in detail. To get started with your PSA integration, navigate to Configuration and then Integrations. Once you're on the Integrations page, you will see a full list of all the different PSA tools that we integrate with. So just find your PSA tool in the list and click Connect. Now, depending on which PSA tool you use, you'll be prompted to enter different things like possibly the company URL or an API key or a secret key. So go ahead and enter the proper information and then click Connect. Once you have integrated, it will show that you are connected on the integrations page with your PSA tool, but it will also say missing configurations. So let's take care of that. Click on Manage Customer Mapping and Ticketing. The first thing that you'll do is map your clients. You'll see a full list of all of your Augmentt clients on the left side of the screen. And in the middle of the screen where it says Select Customer, go ahead and click that Select Customer. You'll be presented with a list of all the customers that were detected in your PSA environment, and go ahead and select the corresponding account. Once you've mapped out your customers, go ahead and click on the Ticketing tab so we can determine where the Augmentt alerts will generate tickets within your PSA tool. You can also map out the severity level, so that way if you have a high level alert in Augmentt, you can determine what level ticket that creates in your PSA tool. Now these steps might be slightly different from tool to PSA tool. There might be different terminology, but the outcome will be the same. So now that we've integrated with our PSA tool, we linked up our customers, and we've mapped out our ticketing, the PSA integration is complete. Whenever you integrate with either Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, it will initially pull in all users. This includes the licensed users that you would expect to see, but also shared mailboxes, guest accounts, and service accounts. You do have the ability to scale back the number of users that receive licenses in Augmentt. By using the import settings built into Augmentt, you can selectively choose which Microsoft 365 accounts get pulled into the Augmentt portal during your import. To configure the import settings, navigate to Configuration, and then Employees. Select the customer account you wish to manage, and in the top right corner, click on Import Settings. From here, you can choose which accounts to either import or exclude from the import whenever you connect into Microsoft 365. You can import based on domain, or you can get more granular and import either specific accounts, groups, roles, or license types. You can also choose to exclude certain accounts from the import. You can go with the quick options to exclude accounts without licenses or accounts without any groups assigned, or you can manually select which accounts to pull in. Once again, based on role, license, group, or select accounts. Once you've configured your import settings, you will now see on the top right corner how many accounts will be pulled into Augmentt. And when you're ready to import those accounts, just click on the Import Accounts button. Once imported, you will see the full list of accounts that are now active in your Augmentt portal. And if you click on Ignored Employees, you can see which accounts were excluded during the import. You also have the ability to manually ignore users in the Augmentt portal. To remove these users from your employee list, you can check the box next to the employee name and then select Ignore in the top right corner. You can also multi-select employees or filter by any of the columns. For example, if you wanted to filter out all unlicensed accounts, filter by license type, and then select the accounts you want to ignore. If you ignore an account that you want to monitor, you can simply go into the ignored employees list and unignore the account. Now that we've cleaned up the employee list, it's time to license employees. The Augmentt platform is one solution, but there are 3 core modules in Augmentt. You have Discover, Engage, and Secure. Each of these products is licensed separately, and you can tell whether or not an employee has licenses assigned to them to the far right of their name. If they have the license, it will be highlighted in either green, purple, or red, depending on the product. For Discover and Engage, you can license these products per employee. You can pick and choose who to assign the licenses to. The Secure module, licensing is tenant-wide. So as soon as you assign a license to one employee, it assigns secure licenses to all the employees in the total employee list. So you want to make sure that you've either done the import settings or you've ignored employees before assigning secure licensing. System users in Augmentt can help manage or monitor client accounts that have been added to your platform. You can add as many system users as you'd like. You can also assign the system users with whatever access rights are needed. Let's take a look at a couple examples of adding different types of system users. To add system users in Augmentt, navigate to System Users on the left navigation right underneath Management, and then click Add User in the top right corner. Now, depending on which type of user you're adding, you'll want to assign different rights and privileges. So in this example, we're going to add Jack, our level 1 technician, to Augmentt. First thing that we'll do is choose how we want Jack to log in, whether it's through SSO, Augmentt username and password, or even both. For this example, we'll just stick with SSO. Next thing we'll do is choose which companies Jack has access to. I'm going to go ahead and just hit select all. And now we can pick and choose what Jack can do in the platform. Now, out of the box, these settings are for a standard technician, so I'm just going to leave these as is. So Jack can manage, discover, engage, and secure. He can add customers. He can work on integrations, but he does not have access to any of the other management features that are available in Augmentt. So now that we've selected what Jack can do, we'll hit Create User. Now let's take a look at adding a customer. In this example, we're going to set up a customer with access to Augmentt. So once again, we'll click Add User and fill out their information. Now for Amanda's login options, we're going to go with Augmentt password. And for company selection, we're only going to select her company. And then for the permissions, we're only going to set up Amanda with access to Engage. So we're going to just disable everything else in the platform. And this way she can log into her account. She will only see that her account exists, and she'll be able to take on those basic actions and engage, like password resets and onboarding and offboarding users, without having to log into the Microsoft portal. And finally, let's add an administrator. Once again, enter their information, choose their login option. Since this is an admin, I'm going to go ahead and set them up with both SSO and the Augmentt username and password. We've already got the company selection set to all, so I will not make any changes there. And then we're going to give him full access to the entire platform, which includes billing, system users, license center, and look and feel. One thing to note is if you do give somebody access to system users, they do have the ability to change their account and add or change any additional system users. So you want to make sure that you only give this to administrators. But now that we are ready, we'll hit Create User. So now that we've set up our sign-in options, we've integrated with our customers' environments and even integrated with their PSA tools, we've set up our system users and cleaned up the employee lists, the initial onboarding is complete. So let's move on to configuring the different modules within Augmentt. The security posture in Secure gives you a multi-tenant overview of the Microsoft security across your entire customer base. You can also drill down into a specific client to view their security posture details. To do this, click on the View Details button on the far right. From here, you can see all the different posture checks, their compliance status, what Microsoft license is required to configure these, the rationale behind why you'd want to configure these, how they can help you stay compliant with different regulations, and their impact on your Microsoft security scores. The security posture is all color-coded, so you can very quickly tell where you need to focus your attention. If it's green, it's fully compliant, you don't need to touch it. Whereas if it's yellow or red, it might need some work. The majority of the posture checks in Augmentt can be configured directly in our platform. You can identify which posture checks are configurable through Augmentt on the far right. If there's a gear icon, you can configure it in Augmentt. So Admin MFA, for example, has 15 out of the 45 accounts that are not compliant. If I click into the posture check, it will show me which accounts are non-compliant and which accounts are compliant. And at the top of the page, there is a Configure tab, and if I click on it, I can now manage MFA for this customer. You have all three Microsoft choices available in the Augmentt portal. So if you're using conditional access policies, you can either edit or view your existing policies, or you can create a brand new policy directly in the Augmentt platform. You also have Azure per user MFA, where you can enforce or disable MFA per user. You also have the security defaults option. This is a toggle switch that turns MFA on for all users in the environment. Now you'll notice in my environment, I have a red dot next to security defaults because I have conditional access policies in place, and with Microsoft, you can use one or the other, but you cannot use both at the same time. For the items in the security posture that are not configurable through Augmentt, you'll notice that most of them have a lowercase I to the far right. And if you were to click on that I, it will provide you with instructions on where to go within the Microsoft portal with a link to click on, and then a step-by-step guide that often will include screenshots. Now, as you're working through the security posture, you may come across certain of these posture items that you are not going to set up for a client. Maybe you're already using a third-party tool, maybe the client has accepted the risk, or maybe they don't have the proper licensing. In these scenarios, you have a couple options to either override or ignore the posture checks. If the posture check directly impacts your Microsoft scores, you can override our posture settings. Just click the three dots to the far right of the posture check, select the appropriate option, and then you can type in your notes. Once you hit save, that'll override the current posture setting. It will change it to resolved. It'll show up as blue, and it will include your notes. So that way, if you were to share this report with your client, they would see a nice friendly blue color along with whatever notes that you've entered. Now, for the posture items that do not impact your Microsoft scores, you cannot override our settings. However, you can ignore them. So once again, if a client maybe doesn't have a P1 license, we can click the Customize Audit button in the top right corner. And this can be set globally or per tenant. I'm just going to set it for this tenant for now. I'm going to hide login portal branding, click Update. And now the login portal branding has been removed from the posture report. If I wanted to view it, I could just click Ignored. And I can still monitor the status of the security posture check without having it show up on the report that the client sees. And last but not least, in the security posture, you have the Quick Baseline button in the far right corner. The Quick Baseline allows you to make sure that 7 of these posture checks are compliant with one click of the Apply Settings button. Now, if these already are configured in your client's environment, it will just skip over them, but if they are not configured, it will go ahead and make the necessary changes to change these from either non-compliant or partially compliant to fully compliant and green. It appears that you've come to an intersection in your onboarding journey. If you're using the Autopilot add-on, you can continue through the first door to set up your posture templates. If you are not using Autopilot, you can skip to the next level. Now, if you are using the Autopilot add-on within Augmentt, you have some additional options with the security posture. You can utilize our posture templates. With the posture templates, instead of going through the security posture one check at a time, you can create templates or use existing templates from Augmentt to apply multiple settings at once within a customer's environment. There are 4 default posture templates that Augmentt provides. You cannot edit these, but you can duplicate them and then edit the copies. And if you click into any of the existing templates, you can see what the posture checks are that we are modifying and what compliance status we're going to modify them to. You do have the ability to duplicate existing templates and edit those copies, or you can create brand new templates as well. When you create a new template, you can name it whatever you'd like, and then you can add an optional description. And then you can go through each of the available posture checks and determine which ones you'd like to include in your template and what compliance status you want to set these to. Once you have configured your template, hit the Save Template button. Now that we've looked at the posture templates and even created one of our own, let's head back to the security posture and select a client. And now we're going to click on the Protect tab. From here, we can select which posture template we want to assign to this client. We can review our selection, and when you're ready, hit the Configure All button. Once you hit Configure All, that will go through and begin changing these posture items to whatever you have selected in the posture template. The alerts in Augmentt Secure allow you to review issues occurring in your Microsoft 365 account in real time. These alerts can be viewed either in a ticket sent to your PSA, email format, or directly in the Augmentt portal. Receiving these alerts in almost real time is extremely important to be able to identify a threat immediately. These alerts are often time sensitive and require immediate attention to prevent further damage. Because of this, you can resolve many of the alerts directly from the Augmentt dashboard. For example, in this account, Brantley Adair's credentials were leaked. If you click on the box to the left of the alert, you can take immediate action. You can reset the user's password, sign them out of their Microsoft apps, and even block their sign-in. Now you've prevented a bad actor from gaining additional access to the Microsoft environment in less than 5 minutes. Now, let's take a look at how we can configure the alerts. First, we'll choose which alerts that we want to be sent out externally to either our PSA tool or our inbox. Click on the Settings tab right above the pie chart. There are over 140 different alerts that you can receive through Augmentt. And you'll notice that each of the alerts has a bell icon. If the bell icon is highlighted in black, it will send the alert out externally to either your PSA tool or your inbox. If the alert is grayed out, it will only show up in the Augmentt portal. You can completely customize this either globally or per tenant. You can either click on the individual bell icons to turn them on and off, or you can multi-select and then enable or disable the alert notifications. This way you could set a global alert policy for all of your customers and then set client-specific alerts if necessary. You can also adjust the alert thresholds on any variable alerts. This can also be done globally or per tenant. And then if you click on the event settings in the top right corner, you can set an allowed country list. This way, if there is a risky sign-in from outside of that country list, you'll receive a risky sign-in outside of the country alert from Augmentt. The event settings can also be set up globally or per tenant. Once you've configured the alerts that you want to receive, the next thing you want to do is choose how you want to receive them. If you navigate back to the Alerts tab and then select All Companies from the Customer drop-down menu, you can choose client by client if you want to receive these alerts either via a PSA ticket, an email, or if you only want the alerts to show up in the Augmentt portal. And that's it. The alerts have been configured. It appears that you've come to another crossroads in your onboarding journey. If you are using the Discover module and would like to set it up, choose the first door. Otherwise, you can skip to the next level. The Discover module in Augmentt gives you insight into Shadow IT and overall SaaS usage. In order to collect this data, you will need to deploy the Augmentt Discovery Agent first. To download the Discovery Agent, navigate to Discover and then Agent. The Discovery Agent can be installed on your client's devices either manually, through GPO push, or it can be distributed through a remote monitoring and management tool or other software distribution tool like Microsoft Endpoint Manager. The Discovery Agent is not customer specific. You can use the same file for multiple customers. However, you will have to plug in the customer's unique license key to make sure the SaaS data is associated with the proper customer account. Once you have downloaded the agent and copied the customer license key, you can begin the deployment process. There's a knowledge base article with the different deployment methods. Whether you decide to use PowerShell, command line, or deployment tool, you can find the information you need for deployment in the knowledge base. The Augmentt Discovery Agent can be pushed out silently, with the license key pre-filled to ensure that there is no end-user disruption during installation. After installing the Augmentt Discovery Agent, it will start reporting back SaaS activity immediately. You may find that the approval status, risk, or productivity scores that are pre-generated may not fit your client's needs. To edit these items, navigate to the App Catalog. Once you are in the App Catalog, you can edit existing applications. This can be done globally or per tenant. You also have the ability to add additional applications for the Discovery Agent to monitor. All of the reports in Augmentt can be generated on demand at any time, or they can be set up on a schedule. You can also brand the reports with your own company logo. To generate a report on demand, simply navigate to the report, and then in the top right corner, click Export. On many of the reports, you can also set a date range. To set up report schedules, navigate to Configuration and then Scheduled Reports. Select the customer account you wish to set up this new report schedule for, and then you can select which report to generate, how frequently you want to send it out, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. You can enter the email address of the recipient that you want to receive the report, and once you've configured the report, toggle the switch to enable it. Now that we've set up the report schedule, click on Look and Feel at the very bottom left corner of the Augmentt product to brand the report. From here, you can upload your own logo, and this logo will replace not only the logo in the reports, but also the logo in the top left corner of your Augmentt dashboard. And now that we've set up our schedule, selected our recipient, and uploaded our logo, the report configuration is complete. Congratulations! You have completed your onboarding journey. You are now ready to start using the Augmentt platform to its full potential.